How do we actively value culturally and linguistically diverse home and community language practices in our instruction and in our interactions with families? How do we do this if we don't speak the family's language? Why do these efforts matter to learning experiences and outcome for multilingual learners? So in the scenario, in the question we were just exploring, I think the key word is actively. How do we actively use these practices in our instruction, in our interactions with families? I think to be active, you have to have action. To have action, you need to find resources. And as an ESOL teacher, that is a big part of our job. We have to find the resources that are available for us to support our students and our families. What resources does your school district have to support families? What resources are there available to communicate with families in their home languages, whether that is an app like Talking Points, which is very impersonal, but it can begin the conversation, or it can begin that introductory process with families. Reaching out to your parent liaisons, reaching out to your bilingual support in the building, reaching out to the district's resources. They should be parent centers within your district that support families. Speaking with your classroom teachers, what are the needs of this family and their students? But as an ESOL teacher, you do have to be very active in finding those resources, and not only for yourself, but also to provide that support for classroom teachers. They need that support because a lot of classroom teachers don't know where to begin. Why do these efforts matter? Because that's what we do. That's our work as teachers. That's the work of the heart. We care. We come into this profession because we love our kids, because we want them to have a better future, because we know that they are capable learners, and one day they are going to be the caretakers of us in our societies. And we want to provide that support for them, and we want to see them as value to our communities, to our learning communities. Our multilingual learners need to see themselves in the classroom. They need to see their families in their classroom. They need to see that their home language is valued. How do we do that with instruction? We incorporate that into instruction. We use their home language to support the work of their English learning acquisition process. We find a way to integrate it. We make that very vivid and alive in a lesson and in our interactions with them. We need to know our students. We need to talk to them and ask them, what language are you speaking at home? How is something as simple as, tell me about your family. Have them draw a picture. Have them tell you about their families. Allow them to share with their peers about their families. It's empowering for them. Our students need to feel empowered, and they need to feel that their multilingual repertoire is very important to us, and it has a lot of value. And we need to also share those thoughts with our classroom teachers, at our CLT, at our professional learning communities. We need to help our families feel empowered as well, and know that we are doing our best to communicate with them, and that we are doing our best to engage them, not just communicate, but we want to engage them in the work. We want to help them help their kids at home, and that's the work that we do. But we have to start with action, and we have to find the resources. If we don't know where to begin, we need to find where to begin, but do begin the work. because our families and our students can't wait. They need us to engage them, and um, and that's where we start, and that's how as an ESOL teacher, I feel very successful in this area because I'm actively engaging with our families daily, and not just when something happens at school, but in a positive way, finding resources that they need, um, doing that piece of social work, because part of being an ESOL teacher is not just the instruction piece. We also wear many hats, and one of those hats is finding resources for our families that are struggling, in our students that need other support, social emotional supports, students that are dealing with crisis and trauma and hardships, and reunification. So we have to actively do the work. How does integrating translanguaging pedagogy contribute to culturally and linguistic sustaining pedagogy? How can we meaningfully integrate translanguaging pedagogy into our teaching? So, how do we sustain the culturally and linguistic pedagogy while integrating the translanguaging pedagogy into our classrooms and our learning communities? How do we make meaningful integration of translanguaging pedagogy into our teaching? Um, there are there are many different, very essential and important reasons why we should do this. Number one, because it empowers our students to feel successful in the classroom. It empowers them to feel that they are a contributor of the learning community. When students feel empowered and they see themselves in the classroom and they see their families and their fonts of knowledge in the classroom, we have students who feel empowered and who are going to want to be engaged in the work because they see themselves in that learning community. Supporting our bilingual students is a non-negotiable. In order for us to make progress in the culturally and linguistic pedagogy, we have to use their entire linguistic repertoire in the classroom. We have to allow our students to mobilize their languages to process content. We have to allow them to communicate in their multiple language repertoires in the classrooms. How do we do this? We do this in many different ways, but we do have to, as ESOL teachers, we have to be very purposeful in how we plan lessons, in how we support students in their day-to-day days at school. We do this in many ways, using simple words in their home language and leveraging that home language with what they're learning, using different phrases in different languages or sentences to allow them to communicate, especially when they are just starting their journey as emergent bilinguals. When students feel that they can leverage their home language to support their new language learning, it's empowering for our students. It allows them to feel the classroom is a safe space for them to participate, to be who they are. It gives them a voice in the classroom. As teachers, it is our job to allow students and encourage them to display their language alongside English. It's non-negotiable. If we are going to be teachers who allow students to be who they are, we as teachers have to create that safe space for them. whether they're in your classroom in your ESOL space, or whether you do it in their home gen ed classrooms. In that collaboration with teachers is very important, because we are all, every single one of us as educators, we're all ESOL teachers, and we're here to support our students. So supporting the translanguaging pedagogy, it really is a non-negotiable when we have students who we want to feel empowered, and students that we want engaged in the work. So we had to provide that space. We had to enhance the confidence of the students to tap into their creative side, and be a deep understanding of their culture and the value that each of them bring to our classroom. We need to allow our students to tell their stories, and we need to collaborate and allow families to share those stories with us as well. So when we are making meaning of how to integrate translanguaging pedagogy into our teaching, we need to take the time. We need to be purposeful in how we plan our lessons, and we need to be very aware of our students' needs and the value they bring to us every day.